next Cubs team rising. Next starts here.
There have been 2 complete games in the majors this year. Drew Smyly, 7 perfect innings.
Opportunities like this don't come around very often.
Little dribbler, third base side, tough play. Oh, they collide. Oh, no.
Come on.
Yeah, it's tough. Jan wanted to make the play, I wanted to make the play, and it just didn't work out.
It's an aggressive play. Both of us went after it. I guess he didn't think he was going to be recovering a fumble today. Let me tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ride him harder than Jan did.
Well played, David Ross. Cubs baseball right here on Marquee Sports Network. Cubs and Dodgers, it's game 3 of this 4-game set, fresh off that amazing win yesterday as they gather over at Murphy's and in front of Mr. Cub. And welcome into the broadcast booth. John Shambi, Joe Girardi, and Jim DeShays, Elise Medical will join us coming up. So much to get to. Smyly's great performance, but we start on the offensive side. Cubs are leading the National League in runs per game. It's been sensational in a whole bunch of ways.
Well, the offense has been fun to watch, and the great thing is everyone is contributing. As you look at Dansby Swanson, he got the party started early in the season with all those 3-hit games. They're #1 in runs per game at 6. You're going to win a lot of games. Nico Hoerner has been on base all but 1 game this year. Hit his first home run yesterday. Is just hitting at a high clip. Cody Bellinger, boy, he's loved hitting against his old teammate. 3 home runs against the Dodgers. You see the batting average. They're taking their walks. They're #1 in OPS, and that leads to the #1 offense in baseball. And you look at Patrick Wisdom, he's been in the middle of everything. He's hit 4 home runs. There's a changeup off of Jackson. He hit a fastball off of Grove, and he really doesn't care which pitch it is. He gets a slider off of Arias, and he got a little cutter as well. So, I mean, Patrick Wisdom, #1 in slug, leads the NL in 14 extra base hits. He's been in the middle of everything.
Yeah, the top 3 guys have been so good, but there's a lot of depth to this lineup. For more on what has this offense clicking, we send it downstairs and we say hello to Elise Medical.
Hey, Boo. Yeah, with these players, it's really that 1 through 9. Talked to Dansby about it before the game. Said, what is it about this team right now? He said, no one is taking a selfish at bat. When they go to the plate, they're thinking about competing to win and not their individual stats, which, as you can imagine, that can be pretty tough. Mancini saying every guy just taking a quality at bat, seeing a lot of pitches. But both Ross and Dansby pointing out the coaching staff as well, saying that the plan they have in place is simple. Dansby telling me that that's giving them a chance to compete and have confidence. He said clarity is key at the plate.
All right, well, today on the mound for the Cubs, it will be Hayden Wesneski. And JD, he's coming off a good start.
Indeed, he is. First couple starts for Hayden, not good. Last time out, however, in Oakland, outstanding work from Wesneski. He went 7 innings. You know, he faced 26 batters in that game. He threw strike 1 to 20 of them. Slider was playing. Fastball was just dominant stuff against, albeit an undermanned A's lineup, but he's got a lot of momentum heading into this game today. Cold day here at Wrigley, should be a good day to pitch. 7 punch-outs, no walks, 90 pitches. Very efficient for Wesneski. He's up against a talented right-hander, Dustin May. He's got big shock of red hair. Boog, he kind of looks like you in your prime. He's got a fastball that touches 100 miles an hour like you in your prime as well.
Remember, everybody, gingers are only 2% of the population, so we're kind of like unicorns. All right, when we continue, we're going to talk 2-strike hitting, the approach, and we'll send it back to the studio with Cole Wright and Carlos Pena.
Wasn't able to get it, but either way, the Cubs, they were getting after it in the batter's box, and they've really been able to zone in when it comes to their 2-strike approach. Now, 17 hits yesterday, and 9 of those knocks came with 2 strikes, Carlos, and that's an approach that's really benefited this Cubs team this year.
Yes, and I think it's been working because they have switched their mentality with 2 strikes. Instead of thinking, you know, I have to expand the zone, I have to protect, which can get you in trouble because you start chasing off the plate. They're saying, no, I'm going to zero in on a pitch. I'm not going. It's almost like you're thinking this is 2-0, which is counterintuitive, right? But it's actually been working for them. let's raise our sights. Let's get a good pitch to hit. Next thing you know, you find yourself in favorable counts. They've done a great job of that.
Yeah, we've seen it all up and down the lineup, specifically Ian Happ. He's one guy who has really honed in when it comes to that two-strike approach, not to mention Nico, Patrick Wisdom, the whole gang, right?
Yeah, they've done a great job of this. And this is, I'm going to show you right here. Look at this pitch. 2 strikes, 3-2. This pitch is up and in. And what does Happ do? Gets ready early enough. He's above the baseball. Remember we talked about swinging above it. Seiya, right here. Look how he takes this confident swing. This is not a 2-strike defensive swing. That's aggressive. And this one right here. Come on. Talk about getting ready to hit. Yeah, I got 2 strike. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to load early enough to hit. This one looks like a 2-iron. That ball was absolutely scorched because he's ready to hit. That's not a defensive swing. It's very aggressive. So it's a change of mentality. It's been working with 2 strikes.
And you just made mention, looked like a 2-iron, but this is not golf. So, you know, at first, that means that, that they are the best right there. You're not going on the highest score wins. Yeah, clubhouse leaders in everything offensively. So this team clearly getting after it, and they're also getting after it with some of the power numbers because Patrick Wisdom, 9 home runs right now, and 6 of those 9 home runs, they've come with 2 strikes, Carlos.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how we can feed off each other on a lineup, right? As hitters, we always look to a guy we admire. I think Patrick Wisdom benefits a lot from watching a guy like Nico Hoerner. Now you're like, oh, how can this be? There are 2 different types of hitters. Well, when Wisdom goes up there and thinks about being like Nico Hoerner, just hitting line drives, being above the ball, and just making solid contact, he has so much power that the numbers are going to be there.
Yeah.
So for him, it's actually a good idea to go up there and think more like Nico Hoerner.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see how you can feed off your teammate and learn from each other. So I think they've done a great job with 2 strikes. That's going to be key going forward, putting together a good at-bat no matter what.
Yeah, it seems like whenever you talk baseball and hitting with the legends, guys like Ryan Sandberg, Billy Williams, Andre Dawson, they always say all you want to do is go out there, hit line drives, and shoot for 300, and everything else going to fall right into place. And we know right now a whole handful of Cubs hitting over 300. And, well, Mookie Betts, we know he has a few 300 games to his credit, but the Cubs and Hayden Wesneski looking to bowl him over today. Dansby Swanson, he's going to get after it. A little chit-chat with Max Muncy there, but Cody Bellinger, he's like, hey, CT3, I'm going bridge again today. I'll see you when I touch home plate. Game time right around the corner, and the guys, they'll be on the call. We'll see you when all the dust settles.
Wrigley for our live look in. Belly and the boys dancing through a light dusting of snow. Last 15, he's been red hot. He's got to catch up with some of his former mates on the other side with the Los Angeles Dodgers, including that guy. We think it's Max Muncy. We're not 100% certain it's Max Muncy. He's wearing his jersey, the masked man with 8 homers, 3rd most in the majors. Dodgers and Cubs, it is game 3 of a 4-game set, and it's coming at you after this. Chicago Cubs baseball on Marquee Sports.
Some of the great shots after yesterday's fantastic outing. 7 2/3, nearly perfect. Enjoying post-game with his son Landon. Yan Gomes having some fun with the media, kind of poking fun at the tackle that happened on the field and saying he wanted to protect himself from the questions that he was going to get from the media. You know, after the game, I mentioned that tackle, just that tough one hit. Smiley said that Yan was calling for the ball, but he said just both of them really wanted to make that play. Asked Mancini about it, who was at first base. He said no matter who fielded it, that would have been a tough play also for him, because from where they would pick it up, he would kind of be stretching at like a weird angle. And then he kind of had some fun with it, guys. He said, you know, it's just a couple of guys in their 30s who really want to make that out. So, you know, having good spirits about it all.
The 2 old guys going head-to-head right there, and Gomes and Smiley hanging out on a chilly day. It's been snowing on and off, and Hayden Wesneski on the mound for his 4th start. And time now to check out the Los Angeles Dodgers lineup. It is brought to you by UI Health, as some youngsters get an autograph from their heroes. Mookie Betts leads off. Freddie Freeman hits second. Max Muncy in the 3rd spot. This group led the majors in runs per game last year. Martinez, Hayward, Outman, Peralta, Taylor and Barnes. And they will go up against the right-hander with that good slider.
Brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And take a look at Hayden Wesneski's pitch mix. Fastball at 93 miles an hour. That sweeping slider is his signature pitch. He'll lean heavily on that. Really did last time out against Oakland. Threw it over 40% of the time. He'll throw a cutter. Has a changeup, but rarely uses it. All told now, 13 innings of work, a 6.23 ERA. As we mentioned, first 2 times out, not so good. Last time, really good stuff from the 25-year-old right-hander. Cubs defensively is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Ooh, play the music. Bellinger's in center. He's got Happ on one side, Suzuki on the other. Around the horn, it's Wisdom, Swanson, Horner, and Hosmer. Tucker Barnhart with the 2 gold gloves is behind the plate this afternoon.
All right, it's time now for the keys to the game. They're brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. What do we have?
Well, yeah, cold day, tough day to hit, but the Cubs bats red hot yesterday. We'll see how it plays out today. Sometimes you got to get small, though, on a day like today when you're not going to be able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So maybe a little hit and run, maybe steal a bag or two. Who's good at doing that? That man right there, Nico Horner. Nico's the guy-o. Put that on your chip.
Mookie Betts climbs in, and away we go here at Wrigley. And the first offering misses for ball 1. Betts getting to start at second base today. It's his 5th this year, 30th career start at second base. Remember, he was originally signed as an infielder. They converted him to outfield. He was blocked by a guy named Dustin Pedroia.
I remember him.
He was pretty good, wasn't he?
Pretty good player.
Guy. Yeah.
Seemed to have a little attitude from time to time. Ooh, good try.
One missed just below the zone 2-1. Our plate umpire is Mike Estabrook. Barnhart doing the catching as Wesneski takes that deep breath, and a 2-1. This is up and away.
Some of the games the catchers play, Tucker had Hayden shaking on purpose, right? To try to confuse Mookie a little bit in case he's guessing. He missed with the slider. Now he's in a fastball count.
Line drive, and that's a base hit out into left field. So he got the 4-seamer, and he hit it hard, and the leadoff man is aboard.
Well, Mookie Betts has always been a great fastball hitter, and you see this one leak back towards the middle in of the plate. It's just where he loves it. Gets great extension through the ball and gets the Dodgers going right away on a day where you talked about it might be a little tougher to score runs. I would think that, you know, with Hayden sometimes being slow to the plate, that the Dodgers might try to expose that a little bit. Tucker throws well, but he's got to pay attention.
Freeman the other way, and a base hit. That one sliced into the left field corner. Betts towards third. Dino Evil will hold him up, and Freeman into second. It's a double.
We get a mulligan, get a fresh start. Dodgers got thumped yesterday, coming out here with intention early. This is a 2-seamer, a little run, but it sits pretty much in the middle of the strike zone. And Freddie Freeman, like Betts, a guy who can handle the fastball if you leave it right there. So Hayden in a bit of a bind here. A little spot of bother in the top of the first. Cubs will stay back and trade a run for an out.
This one, the Muncy misses downstairs. It took the Dodgers till the 8th inning yesterday to get their first hit. They had 2 hits in the first 6 pitches here today. Numbers on Muncy, 8 home runs. Always with a high on base percentage. He's usually among the big league leaders in walks. He was top 3 last year.
Boog, you talked about amongst the home run leaders, 7 of those home runs coming in the last 11 games. So he's been swinging extremely well.
That presents a particular problem for a pitcher, right? You don't want to throw him a cookie, but he's very patient. So if you try to, pick edges and you don't get them, now you fall behind. And have to assume he's got the green light here on 3-0.
That misses outside, and Muncy will take his base, and they're loaded. So not the start that Hayden Wesneski was looking for. Single, double, walk, loaded up for JD Martinez.
Not necessarily the worst scenario, though, right? I mean, you had an open base. You don't want to give in. You could get a strikeout and maybe a double play or a double play and then another out, and you only give up one. I mean, when you get in these innings, I think you have to think about I'm going to give up one. Just don't give up a crooked number, because those are the numbers that are hard to come back from.
It's maybe the message that was being delivered by Barnhart. Hey, don't freak out here. Don't panic. Just make a couple good pitches. You get out of this mess relatively unscathed.
First one to Martinez, and that's in for a strike. His experience at the big league level is limited, but for Hayden Wesneski, as a general idea, when teams have gotten him, the big hit is usually by a lefty.
Yes. It's been the trouble this year as well.
The 0-1. Line, and that one is not caught. They get two, and a run comes in to score. Right on top of that play was Ryan Wills as Hoerner short hopped it, and they turn it into a double play. So ultimately, that worked out pretty well.
This ball's hit extremely hard. It's another fastball that's just getting too much in the middle of the plate, but a nice play by Nico Hoerner. A little backhand pick. He knows he's got plenty of time. JD Martinez does not run well. The ball was scorched. He takes it himself, just turns the double play, and now you're in a situation where maybe it's only one.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of frees up Wesneski. Now a lot of the traffic is cleared. He's only given up the single run. But yeah, the location of the fastball has been an issue here. And a lot of times it is early in the game until you get locked in with that consistent release point. And there's another one. We really pulled that one. Sometimes you need to get lucky early, right? You're misfiring. You make some mistakes over the heart of the play. I mean, JD Martinez scalded that ball, but fortunately for Hayden, it was right to Nico.
Two down, man at third. Dodgers have the early 1-0 lead. That's to center. Bellinger back, chasing back some more near the wall, and he makes the catch. He's played as good a center field as you could hope for in the early season. He robbed him of a homer in LA. That had a chance at extra bases. Wesneski liking it? Heck yeah. 1-0. Here come the Cubs up to hit. Hoerner, Swanson, and Happ for David Ralston, Suzuki, Bellinger, Wisdom, Hosmer, Mancini, and Barnhart as Hoerner climbs in. Now the first offering in for a strike. All right, how about this weird one? Including that right there, Nico Hoerner this season, 20 games. The first pitch of the game to the Cubs has been a strike every game.
20 games in a row.
And it's been in the zone 18 of 20 times.
It's pretty good.
That's wild, right?
No, that's good control.
Yes.
Anything but wild, really.
Line drive, base hit into center field. I'll take your puns, Jim Deshaies, and lace one to center.
Take that, dad joke guy. Well, our esteemed colleague in the radio booth, Ron Coomer, pointing out before the game, he was watching video on May, says, he leaves a lot of breaking balls on the inner half against right-handed hitters, and he did a couple of times in that sequence, including that one that Nico jumped all over. So 4 hits for Nico today, and off he goes here this afternoon.
Dansby Swanson down. Big swing there. May coming back from Tommy John surgery. Swanson got a good piece of that fastball. For Dustin May, Tommy John surgery in May of 2021. He returned in August of last year. Not throwing quite as hard yet.
Take a look at Dustin May, brought to you by Budweiser. Yeah, fastball that sits at 97, will touch 100. Curve, power cutter, and occasional changeup. He's not struck out a bunch of guys so far this year. It's 13 punch-outs in 24 innings.
Well, one of the things you notice when you look at his pitch mix, 78% of it's hard. Four-seamer, cutter, and his sinker. And then you take his breaking ball, which doesn't have a lot of depth. His stuff is more side to side, and it seems like the guys that are high strikeouts are up and down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird, you know, because normally you think a guy with this high octane fastball, you think he'd be a strikeout pitcher. Career-wise, he's a little bit above league average in terms of strikeouts, but nothing that really jumps out at you.
The other thing, when you look at him, I mean, the experience at the major league level is really limited. 167 and 2/3 innings. He's still just 25. As a general idea, he's been kind of a sinker monster. This year, he's throwing more four-seamers. The sinker is a bit more unique for him. The four-seamer has good velocity, but not one of those carry four-seamers.
No, it's more of a tailing pitch, right? It doesn't get that ride that we talk so often about the guys with really good backspin on a four-seamer.
And I think trying to throw the four-seamer, he's trying to be that up and down guy a little bit more, because guys will chase that fastball up. But they have not been competitive, and it's just has not been a great pitch for him yet.
I asked Dansby Swanson about calling time, because it seems to me like he's been one of the more aggressive guys in calling time. He said simply, if I feel rushed in my pre-pitch routine, I use it. Long hold. There goes the run. And the pitch is low and ball 4. How about Dansby Swanson? He's shown a lot of plate discipline here in the early going.
Yeah, that's his 15th walk of the season, and last year he had 49 and 640 at bats. So I mean, his rate is way up.
Yeah, that pitch 99 at the knees. That pitch could have gone either way. First two reach for the Dodgers. First two reach for the Cubs. Big opportunity for Ian Happ.
You got Mr. Double Monster up.
There you go.
Leading the league in doubles this year.
42 of them last year, I believe.
Yeah, one of amongst the league leaders. Double would be nice here, JD.
Little right central.
Outside, Dansby Swanson, by the way, has drawn a walk in 6 straight games.
It's really interesting, you know. In Atlanta, he was a power guy, hit the ball in the air a lot. So far this year, he's very patient, taking a lot of walks and hitting the ball on the ground quite a bit. I don't know if it's kind of a small sample thing or if there's something intentional going on in terms of his approach.
Sometimes you wonder it's where you hit in the lineup, right? You get in the 5, 6 slot. A lot of times you think about more of a power. Sometimes you think about the guy in front of you. He's running a lot, you know. The ball on the ground and there's open areas.
Foul tipped in and out of the mitt of Barnes. There's a person with a mic downstairs. Her name is Elise Menaker.
That is me. You guys are talking about Dansby and his walks. I was talking to him about that before the game. It was actually in reference to trying to cut down on the strikeouts. But he says, you know, I don't know if I've done that, but he goes, I know I have taken more walks. He says his swing doesn't necessarily feel like perfect yet, like at its best. But he says, look, with the way our lineup is hitting, I haven't hit as many doubles as I'd like, haven't hit a home run. Because it's cool, because right now, you know, it makes it easier to accept the results when he says, one, you're winning, and everyone is hitting so well.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 aboard. Payoff pitch to Happ, and that's ball 4, and they're loaded. Guys, I'll tell you one thing. Regardless of if it shifts for Dansby or tweaks it all for Nico, if the top 3 guys in the Cubs lineup go 413, 452, 402 on base, they're going to score a ton of runs.
Yeah, they'll be amongst the league leaders all year long. That will not disappear. And Seiya, he's been on base a lot. So is Bellinger. I mean, it's just up and down the lineup.
Yeah, and 4, 5, and 6 are going to get a lot of RBI chances. Pulled that one. Right.
But as you can see, most of his balls are going east and west, side to side. Like the slider that he threw Happ 2-2, it started on one plane and stayed at the plane. It really never started as a strike, and I think that's why he doesn't get the swing and miss in the chases.
All loaded up here. Suzuki waits and a 1-0. I talked to Mark Pryor, the Dodgers pitching coach, and of course former Cub pregame, and he talked about May still learning about who he is as a pitcher and learning stuff like in these spots, you're conceding the run, you'll take the 2, managing the inning. And he talked about the lessons that he learned from guys like John Lieber, Kerry Wood, just about how you get through a lineup.
Liebs had one thing in mind: hit the mitt. That was his theory on pitching. Just hit the mitt. Kerry Wood had the great swing and miss stuff.
Ground ball right side. Freeman will go to second for 1. Return to first. Safe. Run scores. Seiya beats it out. RBI, and we're starting overtime at 1.
6-1 double play, very difficult to execute. Way off the bag there. It's interesting, if they have a more traditional alignment there and Freddie stays home, it might have been a 4-6-3 double play. And Suzuki, good speed going down the line, able to beat the wrap. I don't think May ever got to the base.
But thinking about that more traditional might have been a base hit too. Second baseman would have been closer to second.
Bellinger aggressively swinging, and nothing in 1.
Wind is really whipping.
What are the challenges for a pitcher when the wind is whipping?
I hated wind.
All players hate wind.
Of all the elements to pitch in, the wind was the worst. I take, extreme heat.
Is it the dryness that it creates on your fingers?
It's just the feel of the ball. You can pitch a candlestick, and I didn't throw hard anyway. And that's like, that ball's never going to get to home plate. It's like it's thrown into a gale force wind.
Outside corner, Bellinger knew it, got him looking. 2 away. JD, what about now as you're older? Does wind still bother you?
Less so. I enjoy a nice breeze.
What about in your golf game?
It's a nice built-in excuse for my poor play.
I interrupted. We were supposed to do defense there, I think, right? Weren't we?
That's what the producer said.
Yeah,
but you just blew him off.
No one's listening to it. 2 on, 2 out.
Well, I think
ball 1 to Wisdom.
You're being confident. You're thinking that Wizzy's going to get a hit, right? And then we'll have it for the next batter.
That's right.
Yeah, I like it.
Wisdom with a homer and a double yesterday. He has an extra base hit in 7 of the last 8 games.
It's kind of neat. You have the top 2 National League extra base hitters in this game today is Wisdom, and JD Martinez is up there.
JD, have you seen anything different from Patrick Wisdom if you were to combo the eye test and what you've gleaned from the numbers? What's different? Is there anything different?
Yeah, I hesitate to make any broad proclamations. To me, the bat path at times looks a little quicker, a little shorter, like a puncher's jab as opposed to a big swing.
Popped up. Betts wandering into the outfield and makes a one-handed catch. Yeah, the Cubs leave a couple, but they tie things up. Seiya Suzuki, the RBI fielder's choice. 1-1 onto the second. In Spanish, it's brought to you by Toyota on your SAP audio setting, provided by Tudian, Univision Sports Chicago 1200 AM. Miguel Esparza, Omar Ramos with the call. Here's James Outman. So pops one foul.
JD, as I look at Hayden's first inning, I think for him, to be effective today, he has to get ahead, number one, which he did in the last game. It comes down to his fastball command.
Yeah, he was misfiring badly, spraying it around in that first inning, and that's the hope, right? You go from the bullpen mound to the game mound, even though it's your home field, that's always a little bit of an adjustment. So you're vulnerable in the first inning. This is a very patient lineup. I think maybe some adrenaline, start of the game, trying to overthrow a little bit. He starts this hitter off just nice, easy 92 in the zone to get started.
Good pitch, just missed. The other thing you contrast last start with his first two first pitch strikes were a huge factor for him.
Yeah, with 20 of 26, I believe.
1-2 on the way. In the air towards the right field corner. Suzuki back some more, and that one is gone. Outman will touch them all. It's his 6th, and the Dodgers have retaken the lead 2-1. And the lefty gets him.
Well, Boo, you talked about lefties, getting him all year long. 429 with 2 home runs already in the season, and this is just a hang and break 'em ball right in the middle of the plate. We talk about pitchers having to live on the edge. When you don't live on the edge, big league hitters are going to get you, and it's just he's been a little bit off. He can get back on track.
Line drive out towards right center. Suzuki got a very good jump and hauls that in off the bat of David Peralta, 1 away.
This weekend, the 50-50 raffle has a guaranteed jackpot of $50,000. Fans in Illinois can purchase tickets now through the end of tomorrow's game at Cubs.com/raffle, or from a Wrigley Field raffle ambassador through the 8th inning of each game.
Love the ambassadors.
Yeah, they're good people. They really are. They deserve your money. Give it up.
Pony up the jingle. Chris Taylor takes a strike. Taylor getting to start at shortstop in a bumpy start for him. Just 119. Does have 4 homers.
5 hits, 4 home runs.
A bunch of punch outs. Over 40% of his plate appearances he has struck out.
Guy was originally drafted out of the University of Virginia by the Mariners as a shortstop. He's played everywhere as a Dodger.
And he's been really productive as a Dodger, too. I mean, a career .255 hitter as a Dodger, and has done a really good job playing left, the infield, second, short, wherever they need him. He's gotten off to a really slow start, and then he's had a little oblique thing he's been dealing with.
Taylor, another one of those guys that changed his fortunes with a swing change, hitting the ball in the air hard. Became his goal. That one on the ground. Horner gathers it in and throws out Taylor. Back to Nico Horner in that play. The little things we don't talk about a ton, but just the starting point for these guys with the shift change. So it's not just about the shift, it's the depth that they have to be on the dirt. And I asked Nico about it, and he said, yeah, it took a little while in terms of, you're used to creeping in from the grass. He backs up a little bit, has his heels on the grass. But when he was playing second base every day previously, his starting spot was a good bit deeper. And now he said, I don't even mess with it. Those of you familiar with the show, The Floor is Lava, he said the grass is lava. So he doesn't even mess with it.
So many infielders like to take that kind of that 1-2 step in.
That's
so
right.
That's why they would start on the grass.
Right. And
now you can't do that.
Because you feel like you're
decreasing your range.
There you go. Yeah. Well said.
We saw somebody here. It might have been with the Mariners. Somebody was actually starting in a little bit and would walk, take a step or two back and then step in. Kind of getting back to a neutral position because they just want to be moving forward. The what is lava? What is that?
Yeah. What was that?
Floor is lava. That's a show.
Floor is lava. Foul tipped into the catcher's mitt of Barnhart, and Wisniewski picks up The punch out, but Outman takes him deep, and the Dodgers have retaken the lead. Active duty service members and families across the U.S., if you are a loved one or in need of treatment, please reach out for health care and wellness services. Learn more about Russia's life-changing services at roadhomeprogram.org. Thanks to U.S. Navy Operations Specialist Second Class Kyle E. Robinson for his service. And thanks to all of you for recognizing him between innings. Eric Hosmer will climb in against Dustin May. Hosmer, Mancini, and Barnhart. Dustin from Justin, Texas.
Must be, I think it's just across the border.
It's 40 minutes from Dallas.
It's just in Texas. See, this is a thing. We got Wisniewski from the Houston area.
Yes.
And this kid from the Dallas. That's a big rivalry down there, if you don't know. In Texas, Houston and Dallas, that's a thing. They may have hooked up at some point along the way, like in high school or select ball.
Right about the same age.
Yeah.
May delivers to Hosmer. Bends around the corner, although Payzone had it as a strike.
He's had 3 or 4 already where he's been pinched. I mean, they've been borderline. Nothing egregious, perhaps, but.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Barnes. Hosmer is gone. 1 away.
Now's the time for a healthy start. So let's recharge and play. And do what we love with who we love. Together, let's live well.
First one to Trey Mancini is in for a strike. Trey, going into game 1 of this series on Thursday, was in an 0 for 17. He's got 5 hits in the first 2 games, including 3 yesterday.
You know, he's been a heavy ground ball hitter during the course of more than normal, over 2 ground balls to air outs. And Rossi put him in Thursday against the fly ball pitcher, and I really think it got him going. I do. You kind of try to mix that up to where it's the fly ball guy against the ground ball guy, and it's effective, and he's 5 for his last 9 with a home run.
1 out, base is empty. 2-1 to Trey. Would you do that as a manager? Would you look at those matchups?
Oh yeah, and you could have looked at that matchup on that day and put a lefty in because lefties had more success off of Grove, but he went with the other type of matchup, the ground ball guy against the fly ball guy, and it worked out, and it kind of really got him going.
2-2. Mancini waits. Little bit low. You could tell May wanted that call, and now it's 3-2. 1 out, base is empty. We're in the bottom of the second, and the Dodgers have a 2-1 lead. In there, got him looking. Back-to-back strikeouts. That's his 3rd.
He's been consistently 97, 98 miles an hour with that fastball. This time he does throw it up in the zone, top of the strike zone, with a little running action. Trey probably had his sights set low, and that's the sneak attack there, the high one, because just about everything he throws is down, and then every now and then takes a shot up.
Barnhart, first pitch swinging. Freeman is there, and the Gold Glover gets it over to Dustin May. 1, 2, 3 go the Cubs. We'll move to the 3rd.
To a fun moment on Twitter. So Austin Huff here in Chicago with US 99. He tweets out this because they're watching March Madness. LSU wins the national title, and Kim Mulkey, she's always known for wearing her fantastic outfit. So you say if this tweet gets 5,000 likes, I'm going to find this jacket and I'm going to wear it. Right. And here you are today. Got how many likes, Austin?
18,000 likes. I am a man of my word, and so I found this is actually the jacket. There's only one of these in existence, and they sent it to the designer of the jacket, Martha Gawald of New Bern, sent it to me, and here we are wearing it at a Cubs game.
I mean, what's so far the reaction you're getting? How does it feel? You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, it is a Couture runway jacket, so I appreciate it. It is. It's really just one of those things where it's like the dumbness of the internet is coming to fruition today. So I feel great. You know, the first rule of fashion is to own it, and I feel like, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I feel like I am.
Absolutely, you're owning it. Yeah, was there a little hesitation, nervousness because of the weather? I mean, we're talking Couture.
Yeah, right. So we were hanging out at Murphy's bleachers, the rooftop, just before the game, and it was like the snow was coming down, and we're like, oh, perfect. At least it's a jacket. I'd rather take this than like 80-degree mid-June Chicago, right?
And let's also, you have a T-shirt underneath, Obvious Shirts. So what do we have? This is playing off of everything.
So shout out to Obvious Shirts. They made up this custom shirt for me, which I appreciate. It is I tweeted something dumb, and now I'm paying for it. So it's pretty fitting. It's an obvious shirt, right?
Always is.
Yeah.
Has Kim seen you in this? Has you given her a picture, all that?
Well, so she hasn't seen me in it yet, but she tweeted at me leading up to it, and she retweeted and said, you know, Austin's going to look great in my coat on Saturday. So, yeah, she's probably going to be sent all this footage and everything as well.
And the decision to wear it here at Wrigley, how did that come up?
Just because it's funny, I live on the north side, and so, yeah, and this is my favorite stadium in all of America, and I thought, you know, I just thought it was funny. I didn't think it was actually going to happen. Let's make that clear. I did not think it was people were going to like it. I just thought the visual of me wearing this jacket at Wrigley would be funny, and now here, I got to pinch myself.
So for the fans, you got it for final. You know, you give us the turn, the walk, whatever you want. This is it's Couture. So
I've been working on this.
Go ahead. It's all yours. He's owning it, guys. This is fantastic. Yeah, nailed it. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pass back up to you.
Bellinger hauls in the fly ball. Austin, outstanding. We're here for you, buddy. That jacket
Zoolander?
is something, man.
Ben Stiller movie, Zoolander?
Yes, that's right. Blue Steel.
Yeah.
He was full on Blue Steel there. So, look, I just got to say the thing. You know, it's nice that he's able to get that coat and it fits him. And if it were me, I would love to do the bit, and I would be fat guy in a little coat. That thing would be like on my arm. 1, 2, 3, go the Dodgers.
Stay off the court, you're going to get a technical.
It's the beautiful Megalodon camera. It's powered by Nissan. Nissan makes cars that thrill. Experience the thrill yourself today. Shop NissanUSA.com. Boog Sciambi, Joe Girardi, Jim Deshaies, Elise Menaker, and Nico Horner. Horner, Swanson, and Happ against Dustin May. That's drilled to center. Outman, though, has it measured. And makes the catch. Nico just missed that one at his first homer of the year yesterday. 4 hits, 1 down, and here's a guy looking for his first homer of the season in Dansby Swanson.
It feels to me like Nico hits the ball hard 90% of his plate appearances. I know that's an exaggeration, but he's making such good decisions in the box. You know, a good at-bat doesn't necessarily have to be a long at-bat, right? Get a pitch to hit, put a good swing on it. That's a good at-bat.
You know, when I talk to young hitters, I always tell them that you have to be ready to hit the first pitch. It doesn't mean you need to swing it, but you have to be ready because it might be the best pitch that you get. And Nico got a good pitch and almost hit it out.
On the ground to third, Muncy. And 2 away. Hey, how about a nugget? And I'm not going to promise multiple, but there might be more nuggets. The McDonald's McNugget of the game. This is what we were talking about. Highest OBP combined from the top 3 hitters in the order. That's a big difference between the 1 and 2 spots. 422 to 400. I mean, 422 combined from a third of your order in on base is ridiculous.
That's pretty saucy, yeah.
It is saucy.
Yeah. You got to have sauce with your McNuggets. 99.
Yikes.
Must be nice if you have it, right?
I mean, this guy, I got nothing but envy for this dude. He's got that flaming hair with a 99-mile-an-hour heater. Are you kidding me?
He's a little frustrated right there. Again, as I said in the open, we're 2% of the population. So we're kind of like unicorns.
Good take.
I tell you pitchers try to sell everything. You see,
Yeah, he
him
was
trying to run off the mound like that's the third out, right? Catcher's pulling it up. You know.
That's when the opposing dugout screams at you. We'll let you know.
In there, no complaint from Happ. And the inning is over. 1, 2, 3, go the Cubs.
.com for the latest Cubs news and in-depth feature stories. Presented by Jeff Vukovich, your local Nationwide insurance agent. Visit jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
There's a strike to Hayden Wesneski. As he dropped in the sinker to JD Martinez, who hit it hard, but it turned into a 4-3 double play his first time.
That's the frustrating part about being a hitter, right? I always tell people, you can do everything right, and you get nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Right? He hit a ball hard through the middle. He ends up hitting a double play. He's been always a great RBI guy.
But that's why, you know, and I do understand that there are people in the game that get frustrated by the emphasis on exit velocity. And I think for some people the take is, let's start with bat to ball skills and then emphasize exit velocity. And I think that's probably a fair critique. Line, and that one hit hard, and that's going to get into the corner. Happ will dig it out. JD Martinez has a double and a man aboard. But to finish the thought, I do like to continuously point out that it's process based. If you just keep hitting the ball hard, the results will be there. Last year, if you hit the ball 95 or above, you hit 488.
Yeah, I agree. I think bat to ball skills are really important, and you know, I think it's important to teach hit the ball hard first, and then we'll go to the next step. Whether it's you need to learn how to pull the ball, you need to learn how to get the ball in the air. Just hit the ball hard.
Well, Martinez has hit it hard twice today, and he's batting .500.
Yeah, you're really smart.
Yeah, 1 out of 2. See.
Yep.
Conversely, David Peralta broke up a perfect game yesterday with a 35-foot squibber off the end of the bat.
The average exit velocity of Drew Smyly yesterday, I think, was in the low 80s. I mean, he just, and off the curveball, I believe it was in the 70s. They just didn't square him up.
No.
He also had 10 strikeouts.
You know, he's starting to use his cutter a little bit. He used his cutter against Freddie Freeman, who hit the first fastball for a double the first time. He threw him a cutter in, and then he threw the sinker inside on him. So you get the same look, but the ball's going a different direction, and sometimes it's hard for hitters to lay off.
Did change a bit. They got away from the cutter last time. The cutter's a pitch he's going to use against lefties mainly. And last time out, he went and upped the sweeper percentage and the fastball percentage. He kind of ditched the cutter, but it seems like he's back using it a little bit. The arm slot's a little different for the sweeper and the cutter.
Well, you got 5 left-handed bats in the lineup, so you figured that the cutter is going to be in play here this afternoon. The ability to move the ball away from the barrel, in on the hands of the left-handed batters.
And especially when he likes to backdoor that slider late, you know, to lefties, and his fastball's usually running away from him. He's got to have something that keeps him honest, where they can't hang out over the plate.
JD Martinez out there, not going anywhere. Dansby Swanson in for a word. 2-2. And Wesneski fires. On the ground, Horner is there. Gobbles it up. Hayward is out, and on the play, Martinez to third. let's check in on our 50-50. Odds over $50,000, 52,621. And again, it's a guaranteed jackpot of $50,000. Cubs Charities will provide scholarship dollars for 2 Cubs Scholars. The Cubs Scholars Program offers Chicago inner-city high school students financial contributions and a mentorship program designed to promote academic achievement and post-secondary educational development. That one finds a home in right. Outman, uncle with this guy, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what other National League rookies are lighting it up right now, but he might be the leader in the clubhouse in terms of the early Rookie of the Year considerations. 2 home runs, including a game-winning grand slam here in Game 1 of the series.
You know, he's one of those hitters that also takes his walks, right? I mean, coming in today, he's hitting 277. But he had over a 370 on base, so that's from
he's got skill,
patience,
right?
yeah.
And he can run too. So he's one guy you have to worry about trying to swipe a bag in their lineup. They don't have a lot of speed, but he does.
Last year between AA and AAA, 31 homers and 13 steals for Outman. He's never really been big prospect guy.
He's one now.
Hair is sensational. To Sacramento State, same place that produced Rhys Hoskins.
Jealous, Boog?
A little. Just got that flow. I can't.
Oh, you got flow.
Appreciate it. Peralta 0 for 1. David lined to right his first time. Dodgers have a 3-1 lead. Snowing on and off before the start of this game.
Well, you know you're in trouble when you come to the ballpark and the organist is playing Let It Snow, right?
This is true.
Or the weather outside is frightful.
Yeah.
I mean,
reaching, that one softly hit to center. Bellinger is there to make the grab, and there's 2 down. Dave was trying to psych us up early as it was snowing. He was also playing It's a Beautiful Day. Chris Taylor now. Taylor grounded out to second his first time. Dodgers leading 3-1. Boog, Joe, JD, Elise. How are you?
You could have gone with John, Joe, and Jim. You know, the whole J thing. If you wanted.
Yeah. What are you, the ombudsman here?
Yeah, just, you know.
JD, he's got
There's 3 average guys.
3 throw over where when he separates, his back leg goes backwards towards third base. You ever notice that?
Just stepping straight back.
Right. Instead of turning and his foot staying in the same spot, it actually separates, and it can't be easy on your arm.
It looks awkward.
Yes. He takes his clock all the way down.
Okay, so there's 2 disengagements. We'll see how aggressive Outman is now.
I think the 3 has only happened a handful of times in Major League Baseball this year, so it's not something as a base runner that you'd really worry about.
You would assume a more aggressive lead, but he has not taken a big lead.
I wonder how much first base coaches remind them, hey, that's already 2, you know, get a little bit more, because I think hitters or runners get to a position where they're uncomfortable in certain spots, so they're not going to change.
Well, we saw it yesterday when Nico was on first base after, you know, when there was 2 disengagements. So, you know, remember, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, and I assume most of you do, but once a pitcher has stepped off or thrown over on 2 occasions, if he tries a 3rd time and doesn't get the base runner, it's essentially a balk and he gets a free base.
1-2 to Taylor.
But in the game yesterday, Nico was out there after 2 disengagements, and then he did try to run, but he didn't take a very aggressive lead. The Dodgers pitched out and threw him out. So that's the other thing. I think the pitch out is going to be back in the game a little bit. It had essentially disappeared, but that's going to be one way to combat the running game. Obviously, quick step or slide step, however you want to define it, and pitch outs are going to be a big part of the, trying to shut down the running game.
Ball third base side.
I think pitchers used to have two distinct. They had a regular time, and then they had what you call the slide step or the quicker. I think pitchers today have tried to just narrow it down. Let me just do the same thing.
Just try to be quick all the time.
Yeah, be 1-4 and under, and it gives my catcher a shot with most base runners.
To Nico Hoerner, who throws out Taylor, and the inning is over. 3-1 game here at Wrigley. Back here at Wrigley. Birthday party.
Yeah, Dave and Julie.
Happy birthday, Dave and Julie.
You ready for that heater in? Oh, not that ready.
Ow.
Just trying to run that fastball in on his hands and not able to execute that. A lot of guys just aren't comfortable in throwing inside, but you figure he'd be a guy who would be able to execute that pitch because he gets such good run on his fastball. He could start it kind of middle and just let it run. He just started that one a little too far in, flew open a little bit.
Where's that good cutter he has? 91, right? See this, how this dives down and in on belly. It looks like it's going to be a fastball down and in, which most left-handers love, and then it disappears. JD, how do some pitchers come up with their stretch?
I was just saying the same thing. He's got that funky little squat going. I'm like, why the squat, man?
Remember Mike Messina used to go all the way down? I mean, how do you come up with it?
L5S1, we got a major, I don't know, getting our glute work in.
Yeah, he's probably activating his.
Hammer down the line, but that'll curl foul. He's taking a lot of good swings.
There's that cutter again, but he didn't get it disappearing under the zone. This one, if it stays on the plate, it comes off the plate a little bit, that's a home run, right? It just got in enough there where he fouled it off, but ooh, what a swing.
See if they're audacious enough to go back in there or maybe take a shot away. Or, a lot of guys with Cody, it's the elevated fastball, but again, that's not a big part of May's arsenal. I've seen it a couple times here today.
That's the interesting thing about scouting reports, right? Because that's not a big part of what he does. You have to adapt every scouting report to the pitcher's strengths, right? I can remember Mike Morgan saying at a meeting, we were talking about Ray Langford and he didn't hit changeups. Mike Morgan's like, I don't got one. What do I throw?
Yeah. In the air out towards shallow right field. Hayward charging in.
Yeah, I remember a meeting when I was pitching in Houston, and the rap on this one hitter was that he had a slider speed bat. So don't throw many sliders. And I said, well, I've got a slider speed fastball, so this doesn't work for me.
Well, I'll give you a specific example. For the longest time, the hole against Mike Trout was up and in.
Up and in.
He closed that hole by basically not swinging at it. That said, if you were Rick Porcello and you're a sinker guy, you don't really have a pitch that you can put in that spot so that it's not useful.
What do I do? Right? What do I do?
Do something. That's when you just You go heavy with your breaking ball maybe, and stay away and
do what you
best.
do is the first thing in a scouting report, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why some of the best pitchers in the game are the ones that are able to do it all.
Yeah. On 1 to Wisdom.
We were talking off air before the game, and Joe, you were talking about Mark Prior, and you said that he had that ability. No matter when you were catching him, any fastball you asked for, he could deliver.
He could deliver to all 4 quadrants, and down and away, up and away, down and in, up and in. And I was amazed at a kid that was so young that had that type of control.
Did you know? Because when we talk about Mark, we're always talking about the talent, the ability, the stuff, but that dude's smart.
You knew it.
You knew it? Okay.
Yeah, he had a plan every time he went out, and he was a smart young man, and it's paying off as a pitching coach.
Swing and a miss, and Wisdom is gone. So 2 down, and here is Eric Hosmer. Haas struck out swinging his first time.
I think it's interesting where Barnes is giving a lot of his targets. He has that ball that runs and sinks, and he's actually giving it a little bit higher than the strike zone, because I think if you aim there, it's going to end up at the bottom of the zone. And I think that's what his thinking is. I don't think he's trying to throw balls thigh high, but I think he's trying to get him to get his sinker just at the bottom of the zone.
You mentioned, you're talking about Mancini, but Hosmer has been a ground ball guy too throughout his career, an extreme ground ball guy so far this year. You can see that swing sometimes, right? You can see that little uppercut, and he's working hard to try to get the ball airborne.
Sometimes when you do that uppercut, though, you end up, especially instead of thinking maybe just try to hit the bottom of the ball, right? I know hitting coaches will talk about hit the bottom of the ball, the top of the ball, depending on if it's a sinker guy or a 4-seam guy that has ride. I'll tell you what, for a guy that's on the first base side, Jimmy, he's trying to backdoor that breaking ball. That's kind of hard to do.
Two and two with 2 outs and a man at first. Cubs down 2. That is smoked to center. Outman can't get it, and it's off to the races for Seiya. Haas into second. It's an RBI double, and it's a 1-run game. That was smoked. 110.2.
Yeah, absolutely scalded by Eric Hosmer. The Cubs draw within 1. This double is brought to you by Elgin Hyundai, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new car. Outman leaves his feet, tries to make a circus catch. He cannot, scrambles back to his feet. So good effort. Very difficult to run that one down.
Here's Mancini now. Trey struck out looking his first time.
We talk about contributions from everyone in the lineup. That's his 11th RBI. He was hitting .429 with runners in scoring position coming in. Cubs have 5 guys with 10 or more RBIs. Another one with 9. So you're getting production up and down the lineup.
Both bullpens in pretty good shape here. Yesterday's lopsided game. Dave Roberts didn't use any of his leverage guys in that ball game. And Jake Reed, who had just been called up to pitch, has been demoted. They called up a left-hander, Victor Gonzalez. Cubs just used the 1 bullpen arm, Jeremiah Estrada, after Drew Smiley's brilliant effort. And it's shaping up to be a game where the bullpens are going to be very important here this afternoon.
2-strike hitting's been part of what has made the Cubs so successful offensively. May ready at 2-1.
Cubs are #1 in the National League in all of baseball in two-strike hitting. And, you know, the averages with 2 strikes, you know, well below 200 usually for the course of a season. But these guys have done a fantastic job. The approach has been great. A lot of walks.
Inside, off the glove of Barnes. It'll roll to the backstop. Hosmer up to third.
Remember I told you the other day the hardest pitch to catch is a backup breaking ball? There it was. And you'll get a pass ball and you'll be mad back there and like, that's not my fault. And he overshot it because he thought it was going to break more.
It will be a pass ball.
Yeah, see? Throw the ball where you're supposed to, pitchers.
Come on, Joe.
Come on.
Catch the ball. It's right there.
Throwing a breaking ball. It's supposed to go from my left to right. You're throwing it from my right to left. If I wanted that, I would have called a changeup or a sinker.
Yeah, see, now he's blaming it on the gloves. See, catchers.
We get a bad rap, man. That's the second pass ball of the year. I feel for you, Austin. I do. It ain't right.
3-2. Mancini waits. And here we go. Popped up foul, and that'll find the seats. Oh, the writers have the windows closed. Is that right? Huh.
What do you got on that?
It's a little soft. Just saying.
Can't feel the game with the windows closed.
Can't feel your feet with them open.
3-2. Got him swinging. Hosmer, the RBI double. The Cubs get a run back. It's a 3-2 game. On to the 5th.
Here we had Montez Ford throwing out the first pitch. Women's Raw champ Bianca Belair, Angelo Dawkins is the Street Profits duo. And so you know they are joining me now because I have to talk to Montez first about throwing out that first pitch. Montez, you're a Chicago native. What was it like to have that moment?
I will say I was a little nervous. I never get nervous about anything in life. This is the first thing I was nervous about because you don't want the city to be like, did we really produce that? Did we really produce that? But everything went well. I had my greatest support group in the world, my right-hand man, 100 grand, Angelo Dawkins, and my beautiful better half, the Raw Women's Champion, the longest running Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, right here. So very happy that they was beside me, families in the crowd. So it's good to see everything come full circle and throw the first pitch in my hometown. So.
And you guys will also be singing The Stretch. So what are, Angelo, tell me the preparation that goes into getting ready for that.
Well, first thing first, definitely drink some hot tea, you know what I'm saying? Got to make sure the vocals is right, you know what I'm saying? Got to make sure the vocals is right. But, oh yeah, but we did a lot of practice, you know what I'm saying? We're going to be all one accord, you know what I'm saying? One band, one sound. That's how Street Profits and Bianca Belair roll, you know what I'm saying? But no, we're going to bring the smoke to the 7th inning stretch. So everybody be on your feet and be ready for the show, the 7th inning stretch. Let them know.
I'm super ready for the stretch. Bianca, Monday Night Raw, sold out Allstate Arena. Tell me about it. What else is coming up here at Wrigley later in the season?
You know, just so excited to be here Monday Night Raw, Allstate Arena. I'll be there representing, you know, being the Raw Women's Champion. They'll be there as the Street Profits, but also we're excited about the WWE theme night that's coming August 28th. Right here, we're partnering with the Chicago Cubs, and if you get that special WWE ticket, you'll get the exclusive Clarkamania. So get your ticket. We'll see you there.
Never seen a bobblehead like that. You ain't
awesome.
You know bobblehead like that.
You and the energy here. Haven't seen that before either. Appreciate it.
Greatest 7th inning stretch of all time. You heard it here first.
Putting it in the record books. Write it down.
You're saying right here, right now, this will be the best 7th inning stretch we have ever heard?
Of all time.
Yes. BEST.
Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, they ain't got nothing on us. Okay? Gladys Knight and the Pips, ain't got nothing on this. Okay?
We're going out there and we putting on a show, all right? A show for y'all. Be ready, because we coming, okay? Street Profits, Bianca Belair, we coming. You know what I'm saying? 7th inning stretch, we coming. So get on your feet, show some love. The 7th inning stretch is coming to you in a little bit, because we live, breathe, and die by these 4 words, and that is, we want the smoke, baby.
even the three of us. Pitching change brought to you by Lakeside Bank. It's about time. Brandon Hughes into the game. And the lefty on for the third time. He's looked really sharp.
Yeah, indeed he has. And, you know, because they have Boxberger, who's good against lefties, Leiter, who's been outstanding against lefties, it gives David Ross a lot of options to compete against his lefty-leaning lineup. And here, a very important part of this ball game, albeit rather early, he decides to deploy Brandon Hughes, who was really, really good here the other night. So, kind of a short afternoon for Wisniewski, but that's what happens when you're in a one-run game and you got some dangerous left-handed hitters up.
So left on left right here. Freeman fouls it back. Freddie, the guy who will produce. He's out there every single day. He's played 157 or more games 6 times.
Can I touch on that point too, Boog? In the last 5 years, not including this year, he's played every game this year. He played 162, 158, 60 of 60, 159, and 159. And you know who the first guy out was doing his drills today? Freddie Freeman, doing his infield work. 1040.
I asked Dansby Swanson how much of an influence was Freddie on him. Remember, Dansby, since the start of 2020, has missed 2 games. And he said, you know, part of it is my wiring, but there's no question that was the standard that Freddie set in Atlanta. And it certainly influenced him to be like, this is what we're doing. We're playing. Hughes strikes out Freeman, and a big out it is, 2 away. Downstairs and Elise Menaker.
Well, and just before today's game, Dansby was telling me how he learned from Freeman just to stay even-keeled throughout the entire season. He said in the past, before meeting Freeman and seeing how he functioned, because he said, look, we're both leaders, but we work in really different ways. Freeman, he described as always at like gear 3 the whole season. And in the past, Dansby said sometimes he's like, I'd be at gear 1 or gear 6. So he learned when you're going to go through 162, you have to kind of be at that gear 3. So they still have their different leadership styles, but that was one thing that he picked up from him, just kind of not to ride the wave. It just gets to be too much over the course of a season.
Joe Girardi, right now, what would you say you are? Are you a gear 1? Are you in gear 3? Where are you?
I'm gear 3 all the time in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, every once in a while you get me up to gear 4 if you get me excited, you know.
Okay.
If I hear you talking about me on TV, you know, if I hear that, I might get to gear 5.
JD, what gear are you?
I'm in first.
Yeah.
I'm riding low gear.
What about you, Boog?
I think I'm in a 3 spot right now.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I can get it going.
I think it's important for players to be able to play at that 3 because you play so many games and you'll wear yourself out.
There goes Betts. Got a good jump. Throw down to second. Tag. Save. Barnhart made that play close as the jump was really good.
Yeah, in recent seasons, Betts has not done a whole lot of running. Pretty good lead here. Well ahead of the throw as he goes headlong towards that back corner of the base. Well, the other part of it too is it's Atlanta, right? It's Brian Snitker. I mean, he runs his guys out there every day.
Yeah, no doubt.
They were really successful doing it too. These guys put up great numbers in the World Series, playoffs.
Jack swing, he got him. Went too far, struck him out. Hughes gets out of it. Back-to-back strikeouts. He's been really good. 1-run game.
Cornerstones are brought to you by Advocate Healthcare. Hey JD, what cover are we getting to know today? Well, we were talking about Mark Prior earlier. We'll give you a little resume on the big right-hander. 2nd overall pick in the 2001 draft. 3.51 ERA, 106 career starts. That was a good idea. Just can't keep that push bunt fair.
Might have been a double if it was fair.
Yeah. There's Joe Girardi behind the plate for his big league debut, and he struck out 10. An all-star in 03 and 2.31 ERA in 3 postseason starts.
I can actually remember what I said to myself after catching that game.
You do?
Yeah, I do, right? I don't remember a lot of things because of foul tips, but and it's a good excuse that works at home really well. But I was saying, how could this kid be this good with such little experience? I mean, I talked about how he could throw his fastball to all the different quadrants. I was absolutely amazed.
He was special.
Yeah. It's really too bad he had that collision when he was running the bases, because I think it just changed the projection of his career.
Yeah, with Marcus Giles. JD, you missed a moment yesterday with,
what happened?
With our catcher here. I guess so. Paula and Joe are talking. Joe wants to get his coat out of the closet. I don't know how we're going to be able to do this on camera, but so there's a closet back there. There it is, just over Coop's head. See where it goes in, where the A is, the marquee? That's a closet. Joe's worked a few games here at this point.
So,
Joe, do you want your coat? Yes, I'd like my coat. Where is it? It's out there in the closet. And he starts to leave the room. And we're like, where are you going? The closet's right there where the A is up there. He's like, there's a closet there?
Well, Boo, you said out there in the closet. So out there is out of the room, right? And you were standing in front of the closet.
I was.
So I didn't see
I take up space.
Yes, I didn't see the handle.
But
I've been here
hiding it from you.
I've been here in August to broadcast the game.
Okay.
And 3 early on.
But we keep stuff in there, and people open the closet. In the air, Hayward towards the corner, and Jay Hay makes the catch. Barnhart retired.
Well, now I know it's there. I did not know it was there. I don't go around looking for things and just opening doors and snooping. Is that what you do in your spare time?
I'm a snooper.
I'm not inviting you to my house.
I'm not a snooper.
Stay out of that medicine cabinet.
No, I'm not a snooper at all. JD, are you a snooper?
Nah, probably average.
Mild.
Average snooper.
Yeah, moderate.
Joe, when you argued with umpires, would you use that level of logic and rationale?
Oh, no, because that's when I went to a 7. Forget the 6. I got to a 7 a lot of times with arguments. I went beyond the threat. I remember.
Were you an easy? I mean, did it take a lot to get you out of the dugout, or
no?
You're ready to.
It depends. Yeah. How I felt. Sometimes if I felt like I needed to get my club going, or we didn't get a lot of sleep because we got in late, and my kids got me up early. I used to tell Tony Pena as the bench coach, I'd say, Tony, be ready. I didn't get much sleep last night. Oh, no. Stay there.
Knocking him off again.
This guy doesn't strike out.
Yeah, he doesn't swing and miss much. This is borderline, but Mike Estabrook has not been calling that low pitch most of the afternoon.
Bounce to third. Muncy scoops it. Low throw, and Freeman shows off the hands with a really nice pick.
Yeah, nice on both ends. Tough little hop for Muncy to contend with. Then the throw was not true. And Freeman really good over there, able to bail him out. Might have saved a double, because if Nico reaches, good chance he's going to swipe second base.
And the other thing is, if he gets by Freddie, he's probably on second base as well. And I talked about Freddie both the last 2 mornings, 10:40 in the morning, like clockwork, out here working on that, working on his hands, doing the drills that he did in Atlanta. You want to know why a guy's consistent and consistently puts up numbers? To me, it's work ethic. It's work.
Those drills that we've all seen Ron Washington do. So Freddie Freeman moves on to Los Angeles. Dino Ebel, their infield guy and third base coach, does them. Dansby comes to Chicago. Jonathan Moda went to school on learning those drills, and Dansby's out here doing them every day as well. Two balls and a strike, a walk and a ground out.
He had 86 pitches here. This may be his last inning.
2-2. What have you thought of him here today?
I love his arm. I mean, I think there's more in there. I think when he becomes a more polished pitcher, a little more consistent with that breaking ball. He does tend to leave a number of them in on the right-handed hitters.
Drilled out towards left center. Outman will haul it in just in front of the garage door out there. End of 5. It's 3-2. As we go to the top of the 6th, and Brandon Hughes back out there. This is just off the inside edge.
He's got Martinez on a couple of left-handed bats, so Hughes remains the option here for David Ross. Trying to crowd him with that fastball. Martinez has always been good, right to the big part of the field. Really good power to right center.
I always thought that Miguel Cabrera had some influence on that as he went over to Detroit, and that's where he took off.
Extra base hits for JD Martinez, including one today. There he draws the walk, a rare walk drawn by Martinez. And Jason Hayward will come up to hit.
Trying to work 2 innings here on Thursday. Faced 6 batters, struck 4 of them out. This is his 3rd appearance of the year. Made his season debut out in Oakland. Knee injury slowed him down in spring training.
Here's a 1-0.
You know, I know they talked about finding the right brace for him, right? And I think pitchers have to go through a number of them to see which one is comfortable. Went through that with CC Sabathia.
Cubs relievers lead the majors in strikeout rate. The staff is 2nd overall. It's a really good sign.
What a difference. I mean, that's so important in winning baseball games. Tells you that stuff is good.
High fly ball, Suzuki. All right, 50-50. He's got a guaranteed jackpot of $50,000 this weekend. Where are we at? Pony up the jingle. There's an Ambassador, 61.92.
Wow.
All right, keep it cooking.
And there was a little bit more. Ching ching.
There's a strike to the lefty Outman, who's homered and knocked in a run with a single, so he's knocked in 2 of their 3 runs. Broken his bat. Bellinger will pick it up on a bounce and throw into second, his 3rd hit of the day.
Looks like the Dodgers may have a pinch hitter here, so you might see a little pitching change there. Trace Thompson maybe.
Peralta scheduled.
It's taking 30 seconds for him to get up there.
Yeah, it's gonna be strike 2 by the time he gets up there.
Vargas? Thompson.
Vargas.
And did he just call a violation? I think he did. No?
No, I think he just announced him into the game.
Just announced him. All right.
I got a violation.
I got a violation.
bring David Ross out of the dugout. It's going to be Michael Rucker time.
I think David Ross is a little cranky with how long that took. Pitching change, and it's brought to you by Lakeside Bank. It's about time. So it'll be Miguel Vargas facing Michael Rucker. That's when we come back. Dodgers lead it by a run. All numbers frequently used. 9th appearance. He's pitching close to half the games. 8 2/3 innings. Good strikeout rate, low walk rate, high ground ball rate. All the things that you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely right. Put it on the ground. The guy come in with men on base, maybe toss up a double play ball, clean up an inning. Certainly has the stuff to pitch in high leverage situations. You know, if the Cubs win today or tomorrow, it will be the 3rd consecutive series loss for the Dodgers, something that did not happen at all last year. They won 111 ball games last year. You have to go back to the beginning of the previous season for the Dodgers to have dropped 3 in a row, 3 series in a row.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Right, it's 1-1 in this series. What if it ends up 2-2?
Oh yeah, I got that wrong. Well, if they lose the series,
you could say they have.
Yes, if they lose the series. That's right.
It's not something you're used to seeing from the Dodgers.
No.
I mean, they've been so good. Did you ever get that information about that 3-year period?
Yes, we did. We have a graphic on it. Our man Nick Helling was able to do some research. We're about to show the people.
Tell him, JD.
Yeah, here you go. This is most wins in a 3-year span all time. And the Dodgers, we're excluding the shortened season of 2020, but 2019 through 22, 323 wins. The great Cubs teams of 06 to 08, and the Orioles 69 to 71. Earl Weaver's gang with all that great pitching. You know, caveat being that we play 162 games in the modern game, and back in the day it was 154 game schedules. Some of those Yankee teams obviously put together some outstanding runs.
That's a line drive and a base hit out into center field. And that's going to score JD Martinez. Back to second is Outman. And Vargas off the bench with a big hit. Some insurance in the 6th.
A little backup breaking ball, JD. I mean, sometimes those are the ones that get hit. You talked about May leaving his inside. Rucker left his inside. And I always feel on these cold days, as you've talked about, it's the hardest with those fielding pitches, those slow pitches. Outman almost made a mistake, and the Cubs almost got an out at second base because he rounded, second so hard, but he was able to get back.
Dodgers building a pretty good picket fence here.
You see Outman thinking about going to third, but the problem with that is he looked at the third base coach. That's a read that's right out in front of you, and you got to make that read yourself. You don't need to rely on the third base coach. Should I go? Should I go? And that's probably why he almost made a mistake.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges with younger players too, and you can't extrapolate a lot from one mistake on the bases, but a lot of young players are just a little bit hesitant. They lack a little confidence. They're afraid of making a mistake, so they can be a little tentative at times.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you trust your instincts, and I've always been a believer that for most instances you don't ever need a base coach, right? There's very few, that pick off behind first, that you don't see maybe is because you're diving into the bag, but you got to make decisions yourself.
Who's the best base runner you either played with or managed?
Ooh. I thought Derek Jeter was a great base runner. I thought Jacoby Ellsbury was a great base runner, very instinctual. He actually got me to change my thinking at third base, whether you put on contact or not.
Taylor down on strikes. Rucker gets the punch out. Change it from what to what?
Well, I used to give see it through or contact.
Okay.
I used to. Now it was contact or read. You didn't have to. If a guy hits a high chopper, go. And you have to know which base runners make good decisions on the bases. So after watching Outman there, I would have to see more before I'd give him that. But Jacoby was so great at reading that ground ball that I just changed my thinking.
In the air, right field, Suzuki down the line, and that is foul.
Such a tricky corner down there.
Oh my gosh, there's just no space.
You know, Fenway's similar to this. There's just no space. You can't run full into the wall. Cubs catch a break here that's foul. And I always worry about guys getting hurt when they run into those corners like that.
JD, what about for you, base runner? You played with Bagwell and Bitch.
Bagwell is the guy that comes to mind.
Bagwell
Jeff was a very
good base runner.
Yeah, I played with him and then watched him play a bunch.
Do you know who's a great base runner? JT Realmuto. Maybe one of the best I ever had.
Wow.
Really, really good. And that's a catcher.
I think the biggest guy that I always think of is Larry Walker.
Yeah.
You're talking about a kid who grew up in Canada playing hockey most of his life, and it was just kind of a gift, right?
He just skated around the bases.
Swing and a miss. Rucker able to get Barnes and limit the damage. Dodgers add a run and lead it by the score of 4-2. Chattanooga Lookouts first pitch is this evening at 6 p.m. Seeing Happ now. At ball one.
Well, third look here for the middle of the order at Dustin May. See if they can inflict some damage. And a walk and a strikeout so far today.
Top edge of the zone, and Happ taking that one. So 2-0 to count. Ian getting an opportunity to hit here. He has walked and he has struck out.
Dave Robertson's got 4 lefties in his bullpen that he could go to, so you would think that one of them would be up maybe for Bellinger, as they're probably starting to get to that point. He's at 90 pitches.
Yeah, and I think it maybe speaks to the struggles that their bullpen has had that May still in this ballgame. I thought maybe after 5 they'd make a move.
As a staff, they're 10th in the National League in ERA just overall. That's surprising. A walk there to lead things off. And so the leadoff man is on base. Some defensive changes for the Dodgers. Outman shifts to left. Hayward to center. Betts to right. Vargas is staying in the game as the second baseman.
Think about how unusual that is. You have a 6-time Gold Glove right fielder playing right now, and we've seen him at second and short in this series.
Yeah, he's something else.
This doesn't happen.
You got a chance to see him debut in 2014 as a right fielder.
There's that slider that Kuhn was talking about.
Yeah.
They call it a curveball. I think his is more of a slider than because it just doesn't have the depth to it. I mean, this. I don't know what that's a backup slider.
Yeah, a little slurvy.
Drilled in the air out towards left center, but Hayward measures it up, makes the call, and makes the catch.
Wednesday, May 24th is Teacher Appreciation Night. Fans who purchase through the ticket offers page will receive a limited edition Cubs tumbler. Purchase tickets at cubs.com/specials.
Dave Roberts out of the dugout. He had the lefty Alex Vesia warming up. And the afternoon is over for Dustin May. Lefty into the game to face Cody Bellinger. Back to the new pitcher after this. Find the dealer nearest you at buyhyundai.com. By Advocate Healthcare. Let's live well and make the most of every moment, game day, and every day. And by Wintrust, proud legacy partner of the Chicago Cubs and exclusive home of Cubs checking. I like that. Bellinger bombs his old mates. Alex Vesia in pitching change brought to you by Lakeside Bank. It's about time. Been a rough go for this southpaw.
So my brief scouting report on this guy, I look to the third base side because that's where he's trying to go, and lay off the fastball up. Because sometimes when he's trying to go away, it ends up, and you got to lay off that. First pitch was a breaking ball away.
1-0 to Belly. 2-0.
And that's for right-handers too. He tries to crowd the right-handers, and sometimes it ends up over the middle, and you got to lay off it.
See how bold he wants to be here. 2-0 to Bellinger, who's inflicted a lot of damage against the Dodgers already. Both in the series in LA and here this weekend.
And 2 of his home runs have been off of left-handers, right?
Caught a break here, did Bellinger.
Yikes. Well, that's a strike by a lot.
No, it wasn't.
Fair point. Fair point, dog. Ball 4. And Bellinger taking his base. Cody aboard for the first time. Oh, here's Wisdom.
And now you bring up the hitter that has killed left-handers, right? And has done a really good job against these Dodgers. He's #1 coming into today with slugging, #2 in home runs. He's climbing the leaderboard in RBIs.
Vesia likes to elevate that fastball. David Ross liked Wisdom in his starting lineup today against Dustin May. Thought he would. It was a good fit stuff-wise for him. 0 for 2 so far. Pop up to second in a strikeout.
Time called, and now Austin Barnes will visit the mound. Dave Roberts, Mark Pryor looking on. Dodgers leading it by 2, but the Cubs with a threat, 2 aboard and 1 out.
You want to know what makes you gray, Boog? When you bring the lefty in to get out the lefty and he walks him in 4 straight pitches, and now you're facing Wisdom, that'll make you gray.
Oh. Six straight outside the strike zone. Runners take off, pitches in for a strike, and 2 are in scoring position. Well, Happ just got such a good jump, and Vesia wasn't paying attention.
He's too focused on trying to throw a strike, and you saw Barnes kind of point out there, step off, but it was too late. Pitchers are worried about the clock, and what do you have? You have a stolen base. Now he's frustrated.
Yeah, and you got Barnes who struggles to throw out guys anyway. Freeman's way off the bag at first, so easy for Bellinger to just follow Happ's lead and cruise on into second.
Got to find a way here just to put the ball in play. The infield's back. It should get you a run. Happ should be able to get a big lead at third base, even if it's smoked to Muncy. Right? The only one you probably can't score on is one thrown to hit to the pitcher. So get a big lead and just get one of these in for sure.
2-2. Popped up. Foul ground right side. Freeman. Out number 2. I don't think Eric Hosmer's going to get a chance. No, it's going to be Nick Madrigal. So Hosmer pinch hit 4. Madrigal, the season's off to a solid start.
Yeah, he's been good. Here comes Mark Pryor, probably with a little scouting report on Madrigal. This is one of the things I like about the 3-batter minimum rule. I know most managers don't like it, but it does tip the scales a little bit in the favor of the hitting club, where they can kind of they know they're going to get a favorable matchup in certain situations late.
I didn't like it.
No, I don't. Managers like to be able to wheel and deal, right? You'd love to be able to counter this move if you're Dave Roberts and bring a righty out of the bullpen.
I find it interesting, though, that, and it's a free visit, but pitching coaches always go out, because I guarantee you it's on Barnes' wrist how to get him out, right? Because they switch cards for every pitcher.
Yeah.
I guess they're just making sure that the pitcher remembers. Do you guys have short-term memories?
Generally, yeah.
Inside, and Barnes smothers it.
And that has nothing to do with foul tips. I think it's your focus just on the hitter and maybe not always listening in the meetings.
Yeah, and in the ideal world, you just have a catcher you trust, right?
Yeah,
you just follow his lead.
I mean, it's not like he has a lot of options. He does have a changeup, but I mean, he's shown you what he's going to do. He's going to throw you fastballs up, fastballs in, and sliders in.
That finds the mark.
I remember Mel Stottlemyre telling me in a World Series game, God rest his soul, Mel was the best. He was a great pitching coach. He looked at me and said, first pitch fastball hitter, right? I had Mariano Rivera on the mound. I'm like, well, what else am I going to throw?
What am I doing here?
I think it was.
You might want to try the. You might want to try the cutter. Tell just watching Vesey a little bit here. He likes to elevate that fastball, and that plays to Madrigal's strength. He can get on top of that high heater.
Look, do you see your pigeon back there?
Yeah,
he's here. He's behind home plate walking.
Guy that visited me last year.
And we got snacks up for him and everything. There he is.
Talk about an advanced scout getting a good look.
He's trying to give Madrigal a little look to let him know what he's throwing.
He's trying to find his way up here for some crackers. Foul tipped into the mitt of Barnes, and he held on to it. 4-2 game.
Runs in the 8th inning. So today we're looking at the 7th. When it comes to runs scored, odd or even, my man, where are you going?
I'm going to go even, including 0.
Okay.
So 0, 2,
0
4,
counts
just
2,
in case.
4 counts 4 means the Cubs would take a lead, and that sounds pretty promising. We'll see how it all shakes out. We'll catch you on Cubs Post Game Live, Carlos and myself. Until then, 3-man booth. Back to you guys.
We got your back, Los. Mark Leiter Jr. pitching change brought to you by Lakeside Bank. It's about time.
And Leiter so far has been outstanding. He's faced 30 batters this year. He's struck out 14 of them. He's allowed just 3 hits and nary a run.
It just seems like he has such great command over all his pitches. He throws that one a little wide, but like, you know, he can throw a first pitch breaking ball to Mookie Betts. He's probably going to take it. You're ahead in the count. Just changes how you approach him. I think he was trying to hit a bird.
Yeah, I think a pigeon may have distracted him.
Ball and a strike to Betts. And that's through there. Couple of changes. Wisdom shifts over from third to first. Madrigal stays in at third.
His splitter plays so well against lefties. You know, the ability to fade it down and away against a lefty to make that pitch go away from a right-handed hitter. That's a tougher pitch to execute.
Two. Got him.
Came right back with it, and that time got off a dandy. He's primarily in this game because of the lefties that are coming up now. But he was able to dispatch the dangerous right-handed hitter in that good split finger pitch. The off-speed nature of that pitch got the job done. That didn't have the great action that some of his splitters have.
They've tried to crowd Freddie all weekend with a lot of those cutters. Hayden did it a little bit. I think you'd see some of them tomorrow from Stroman as well.
Leiter, that split finger pitch we talked so much about. Andy Martinez did a great job on the origin of the grip. Actually, at Toms River North High School, his senior year was when he started messing around with it. That one line, and Nico Horner not able to come up with it. It squirts into right. Suzuki will retrieve it, and with one out, a man aboard. So he messed with it in high school. He didn't actually start throwing it until his sophomore year of college. And he got great results, and Dad was the one that was kind of pushing him. You got to break it out.
You think Uncle was pushing him towards the slider?
Or the cutter?
Al slider?
Golly. Got a little equipment issue.
Got to pay a little attention to Freddie Freeman. He will try to sneak steal sometimes, especially with 2 outs.
First one to Muncy, misses the mark. Max, a walk, a ground out, and a strikeout. Last year was a down year for him. Hit under 200.
You know, I think it's really unusual for guys that have such command of the strike zone to ever hit under 200.
Yeah, I think for him.
Little balk?
Yeah, they did call it balk.
That's something that's been more prevalent in our game. There have been more balks called this year.
Yeah, it was a point of emphasis for the umpires heading into this season. I think all in just trying to, you know, help the running game.
Encourage action.
Make sure the pitchers come to a complete stop. And see if we can see if Mark did indeed not come to a complete stop. I don't know.
It's a stop.
It's a stop for me.
But you know, that was different than the next one where it was kind of 2 taps. You know, he never stopped. Yeah, that is not a balk.
There were 112 total balks called in Major League Baseball last season. We're already at 35, so we're more than a quarter of the way there and not close to a quarter of the way into the season. So they're definitely emphasizing it.
Somewhere Bob Davidson is rejoicing.
Smiling. Balk a day. I don't think that's a good thing, by the way, would be my 2 cents.
I'm anti-balk. You know me.
The balk's stupid. Like, I mean, you got to get people.
It's not a nice
it needs
word.
to be definitive. When a guy's on the mound and there's somebody at third and he drops the ball, there is no reason for somebody to get a run.
I agree.
I'd like they should stop that right now, like immediately, today. Drilled to right, and that one is gone. Max Muncy with a 2-run homer, and it is 6-2. And for Muncy, his 9th homer of the year.
That's how the Dodgers score runs. The long ball, Outman had one earlier, and now Muncy, Mr. 3 true outcome, a walk, a home run, and a strikeout for him today in his 4 trips. And this time the splitter does not get the job done for Mark.
Look how tight that swing is and how he's behind the baseball.
Yep.
I mean, he's got one thing in mind: driving the ball out of the ballpark. That's his 8th home run in the last 12 games. He has been hot.
And now with one out, it's JD Martinez. Mark Leiter, still here in the early season, has been phenomenal. Up and in, and puts J.D. Martinez on his backside.
Hear the boos coming from a pretty good contingent of Dodger fans that are here for this 4-game set. A little chin music for Julio Daniel Martinez, and when umpires are conferring here, are they going to issue a warning?
I would not be surprised, just because of the home run, the last hitter, they're going to issue. Because I think umpires in baseball are trying to get things not to get out of hand. And I don't think Mark had any intention there. I think he had intention to go inside. But it got away, and this is how you protect the hitters. Maybe not.
Andy Fletcher is the crew chief. He's at third. Mike Estabrook, the plate umpire. There will be no warning.
Kind of surprised, JD.
Yeah, because regardless of intent, what you're trying to do is prevent the Dodgers from assuming there was intent and retaliating. Right. Yeah, I like the idea of just play on. But yeah, so right. The intent was to go back inside, and that's when you throw one under a guy's chin, and then you're trying to go back in there. It's a tough pitch to execute. Yeah. He just didn't feel comfortable going back in there, and pulled it.
I think sometimes when hitters get hit in the head, right, and it's not on purpose, it can really mess a hitter up. But it can also really mess a pitcher up, right? Because it scares you from going back inside.
And that's where, as a catcher, right, you have to recognize that and go, well, here's what I want to do to this hitter, but I don't know that my guy out there in the mound can execute that pitch. So maybe there's a plan B that'll work as well.
That is such a great point. I always tell people, like, the catchers have these wristbands, how you're supposed to get hitters out, right? But I think a catcher knows better than anyone in the course of the game, can the guy execute the pitch or not? And it might say do this, but if he can't execute, can't do it.
And I think sometimes that's where there could be a disconnect between the data people and the catcher or the pitching coach, because the data says we need to pitch this guy this way, and the pitching coach or the catcher say, yeah, but this guy can't do that with any degree of certainty. I'm not confident, so let's do something different.
And therein lies knowing your pitcher, right? Not just what his stuff is, but what his comfortable.
Right, where his comfort level is.
Yes, on certain pitches. And it can change from week to week, day to day, month to month. But you got to know what's going on inside of that head of a pitcher. I wonder how much it affects the pitchers that they warm up inside underneath and then you come out in this weather. It's got to be a totally different feel on your fingers. And by no means am I suggesting you turn the heaters off, but it's got to be completely different.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
Simulated with like temperature and a wind machine.
A little snow.
Hayward spoils that one.
You see Jay Hayes changed his stance a little bit. It looks like to me he's really sitting back on that back leg and hit the ball in the air a little bit more.
I think you get to a point in your career you realize you have to do something different. It's just not working anymore.
Still way off the plate.
Goodness gracious.
Sometimes that can be an issue for a pitcher too, when the look is so different. When you look in there and you see something you're not used to seeing, that can kind of get you out of whack a little bit.
Bellinger back. Hayward has tried him a couple of times. 2 away.
What's amazing though is how much plate coverage you still have so far away. But what happens is your arms get away from you and that takes the power out of your swings. As you look at this swing by Hayward, that back elbow gets away from his body, and that's what takes away the power. I mean, that's not a tight swing. His left arm is almost extended when he makes contact, where you want to, almost like you're throwing an uppercut, that sort of feel.
It's a left field, hat back, and makes the catch. Outman hit it hard, and he's retired for the first time today. Dodgers and a couple. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's free.
Superstars Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, and Bianca Belair.
Oh, Wrigley Field, it's the 7th inning stretch. I need you to get up on your feet. Make some noise. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause we root for when it's a shame, 'cause there's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball
Official vehicle of the Chicago Cubs. By UI Health, changing medicine for good. And by Michelob Ultra. Back here at Wrigley, it's the bottom of the 7th. I'm eating animal crackers. Yency Almonte takes over, 10th appearance. And a 6.41. 1.4, 6.14 ERA.
Pitched really well for them last year. He's kind of gotten off to a slow start. Looks like he's having a little problem with the pitch count, but hard sinker, slider kind of guy. Throw his changeup.
He had a 1.02 ERA last year. 33 appearances, 35 innings. He's given up a lot of base runners so far this year.
All right, so hang on here. Muncie's given him his pitch comm. There was a violation.
Maybe they thought it was too late. They thought it was too late. We were talking about using that as an excuse, right? All of a sudden you can't hear. Maybe umpires are told that, hey, if they don't do it within the time.
Still not working.
You know, the great thing about pitch comm, right, is you can do them in different languages. So the catcher can actually put it in English, and it can be Spanish or Japanese or whatever you need in that person's ear.
Yep.
Right? It's really neat what they've done with this.
Well, you did it for Sunday Night Baseball. They demonstrated it. They had you record Coney throw this pitch if you want to be perfect.
That's right. That's right. I remember that. So I think Dave's going out there. I think Dave's going to take a little issue with this.
And now Dave Roberts.
And this is where it's tough to be an umpire, because they're instructed to do it one way. And sometimes I think you have to use a little judgment. This way it's uniform throughout baseball.
Yeah.
I think Dave Roberts is satisfied here. Nevertheless, Cubs will look to climb back in this game. Bottom 7 at 6-2.
Let's go back and take a look, because the clock was winding down. Look at it. There's 6, 5, 4, 3 ticking down before he finally steps off and then says he has an issue with the pitch.
Yeah, with
Delio. You know, the Delio, that's officially what they call it, the pitch Delio.
PitchCom.
So normally, right, you wouldn't be at that point. You would have already determined that it's not working.
Yeah.
Delio, boom.
But if they step off like that, it's an automatic ball. What if you have time to get back on? Right?
In the air, out towards right field. Vargas is out and makes a run and catch. It's really funny, by the way, if you could go back in time and listen to some of the teams and the players talk about PitchCom initially, and it was like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure that. And now everybody uses it.
Well, I didn't get some of the Phillies guys to buy into the last week of spring training. Like, let's try it, right? They were a little skeptical.
The Cardinals were the last team to use it.
Yeah, and now everybody uses it, and I think people love it. I know I did as a manager because I didn't have to worry about teams relaying signs, right?
Yeah, it moves things along. It takes the paranoia out of it.
Yes, and you can give the sign when they're not even on the mound.
Here's Edwin Rios. By the way, happy day after your birthday, Edwin Rios, 29 yesterday.
Saw some balloons in the clubhouse.
I did too.
At his locker. Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to get a hit on your birthday, so let's see if it carries over.
Hasn't had that many opportunities, just 16 at-bats so far. Career pinch hitter, 4 hits and 35 tries. That's a 114 batting average. Not good, but pinch hitting is a really hard thing to do.
It's definitely an art, and I've always found, I think that the best pinch hitters are guys that are fairly aggressive, right? Because a lot of guys like to get deep in counts, you know, because they know they got forward bats. You can't do that as a pinch hitter.
Three and 2 with 1 out. Cubs down 6-2. And now time called.
Fans are getting a little worked up here.
Yeah.
Hey folks, head over to the Cubs Golf Pro Shop located in Gallagher Way for all your golf gear needs this season, or check out the golf collection at ivyshop.com. They got some slick merchandise over there, folks. With the golfer in your life, can't go wrong.
Rios will take his base. And so a 1-out walk.
This year so far, pinch hitters are batting .206.
Wow.
And that's the thing when people watch games and they chastise the manager for not pinch hitting in certain situations. You know, a guy that's hot, that's been in the game, that's had 3 at-bats, that's been tracking pitches, even if he's not as accomplished a hitter as the guy that's coming off that bench, he might have a better chance of getting something done.
Horner drives that one out towards left center field. That one back. Gone! Nico Horner. He homered yesterday. He homers today. Into the bleachers, and the Cubs right back in it. It's 6-4.
Nico the Gallo. 4 knocks, including his first home run yesterday, and he goes deep again here this afternoon. This home run replay is brought to you by Toyota, official vehicle of the Chicago Cubs. A good level swing on that elevated fastball. And Horner flashing some power.
6 games against the Dodgers, 10 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs.
Swanson takes outside.
I tell you what, there's no feeling like being locked in as a hitter. I mean, it really is. And then you get unlocked or whatever, and you can't figure out why. You just don't. It's just hard to figure out sometimes.
I was in a slump from my sophomore year in high school till the end of my career.
Did you? Evidently, you didn't figure it out.
No, I never did figure it out.
So could you hit when you were?
Well, for high school.
Yeah,
that's good. You know.
Power?
No.
Did you run well?
No.
No.
You described yourself as lumbering.
Yeah,
JD.
lumbering. Yeah.
And Boog, you?
No.
Neither power nor speed.
There was power.
Yeah.
There was. I mean, this is relevant.
I hit a home run off a big leaguer in high school, though.
You did? Who?
Tom Browning, my buddy Tommy.
Oh.
Did he throw you the high fastball?
No, I hit a little slicing line drive to left that the left fielder misplayed and it rolled down a hill.
Ah, that's awesome.
There was no fence. I had to leg it out.
Tipped into the mitt of Barnes. Swanson is gone for Nico, by the way. That home run, a rarity because he doesn't pull very much. He pulls his homers, but
I know what he did do is he pulled his hands in on that sinker inside and got the barrel of the bat to it, and it was quick, and it got out quick.
Turn up the dial. Whatever that little deal they got going now.
Whatever it is, it's working, right?
Turn up the gas on the Bunsen burner.
Lined into center, and it's a base hit for Ian Happ.
I know we have been getting questions about what exactly they're doing when they were thinking turn the dial. Look, you guys, I have asked around. It's top secret. No one will tell me. So I don't know what that means officially. So that's my report. I don't know. I'm trying to get it. They won't tell me.
They told me.
I know.
I can't do anything with it.
Can you say no?
I can't do anything with
I'm
it.
offended that they told you, and I'm asking, and they all won't say it because they know I'll say it on air. I like my nuggets.
She does. She's the Nugget Queen. Dodgers lead 6-4.
And not a comfortable feeling for Dave Roberts the way his bullpen has struggled.
No.
Yeah, you're talking about the way that they're 13th in the National League. That's really unusual for the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, their bullpens have been elite. 5.27 ERA coming into today.
Put a lot of stress on Dave, a guy who hasn't had a lot to deal with since taking over as the Dodger manager. Man, they win every year.
Not in the regular season.
He's
Yeah.
got the best winning percentage in the history of the game.
Went too far, and Mike Estabrook rings him up, a strikeout, but Nico Hoerner puts a charge into one. Hoerner goes yard. It's a 2-run game. And James Outman's had a really good series. He's homered today, 3 homers in this series. Muncy with a 2-run homer in the 7th for Nico Hoerner. 2 more hits, including a home run to get the Cubs within 2, and that's where we are. New pitcher for the Cubs, new catcher as well. Reese Torrens will catch Adbert Alzolay. And a pitching change brought to you by Lakeside Bank.
5th pitcher of the day for the Cubs. 7th appearance on the season for the right-hander, and a 2.79 ERA for 9 2/3. That slide ball.
He likes the slide ball. There's Torrens, the new catcher. So you can't tell it all looking at Adbert Alzolay right now, but he has right now a spectacular mane of hair that he is rocking. I mean spectacular. And today he goes to his locker and he's come out of the shower and he's got it completely like poofed out. And because I'm weird, I asked him. He said, yeah, I needed a new hat.
A bigger hat?
So he went from 7 3/8 to 7.5 today. That's a new hat he's wearing because his hair is growing, and he kind of picked it out. And, yeah.
Are you infatuated with hair? You talked about Dansby and Outman.
We're just determining and evaluating. That's all. You know. Yo Vargas came on as a pinch hitter and knocked in a run with a single. That was in the 6th. Nico Hoerner backpedaling out, pulls that one down, one away.
Good communication by Nico there. He put his hand out right away. I mean, he was like telling Belly, I got this ball. Don't worry about it. Sometimes you can't hear. Drew Smyly talked about not being able to hear the pitch calm yesterday as he was getting deeper in that game.
How about a 50-50 update? You ready? It's up to $75,000. Guaranteed 50.
So can you win 75 or you get half of it? Or 50 or half of what it is?
It's guaranteed 50.
Guaranteed 50. So that's the special thing. It's normally half of whatever it is, but they're guaranteeing no matter what the total is that you're going to get at least 50. So we only get to 90,000. Normally you get 45, but in this instance you get 50. I'm not going to do the math. And I'm guaranteed to never win.
What if you come back one day as a fan?
Well,
I think you deserve to win if that's the case.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, since you gave him a lot of money and never were allowed to win.
Austin Barnes has had a tough day, 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Cubs down 2. Alzolay trying to keep it right there. 1 out man at first.
Austin Barnes has had a tough year.
Yeah.
So far, tough month to start the season. He's currently batting .036.
1 for 28. There goes the runner. Pitch inside. Torrens throw. Tag.
You got him. Oh.
And the ball spilled out of Nico's glove. So it's a stolen base.
Really strong throw by Torrens right here. I mean, you look at this. This is bang, bang. Ooh.
Would have been out.
Yeah. It's the one thing that you see more catchers throwing it kind of up the line, so they tag them in their feet earlier.
Side. And now 3-1.
And offensively, Barnes, over his career and his almost 1,200 at bats, has been fairly productive. It's just been a really tough year. Only 10% hard hit balls this year, and he's usually in the 30s.
Well, he hit that ball pretty well to right earlier in the game. The one that was off the wall, just foul, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure his mindset is, of course, that ball's foul.
Yeah.
So the way I'm going. Going through a funk like this, you tend to, it gets a little fatalistic at times.
Swing and a miss, and Alzolay gets him. Joe, did you have any really bad starts where you looked up at the scoreboard, like just a photograph in your mind of the board?
Oh yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, it's usually when you're under 200, but under 100 is really bad, right? And there's just a pride in being over 200. And I think when I went to New York in '96, I got off to a slow start, and fans were tough on me, and those things you don't really forget. But I'm sure there were other years. But I was not really known for my offense, so probably every year was a tough year.
0-1 to Betts.
Warner home run has pulled the Cubs a little bit closer here, so obviously can't afford to give up any more. Leave your feet on the infield, knock the ball down, make sure it doesn't get into the outfield.
Line to left, and Hack glides over and makes the catch. And Alzolay does good work. By Prevagen. Prevagen is the #1 pharmacist recommended memory support brand. And by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Hey, we're back. Caleb Ferguson takes over. And the lefty on for the 9th time. He's put up a good ERA. He's got good stuff.
Yeah, the bullpen that's had their struggles. He's been a standout so far for Dave Roberts. A fastball that averages around 96. Slider.
And a slider that when it's down has really pretty good depth. So Dave Roberts has a number of lefties he could go to. I mean, he's got 4. You don't see that very often in a bullpen.
John Gomes, the only right-handed bat left on the bench.
Probably taking all the way there. Maybe a little more aggressive, a little greedy against a righty, but tough lefty 2-0. You're just looking to get a little something started.
I'll tell you what, Bonds is, yeah, he's been begging for that. But that's not a strike, right?
Well, it's funny. There's been some today that have been strikes that were called.
Yeah.
That one was clearly low. The idea that you're going to get this at this stage of the game is, not likely. You did a good job presenting it.
Bellinger pops it up. And Vargas calls off Taylor.
Stream every out-of-market MLB game live or on demand. New and included for 2023. Stream all minor league baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Did I see a quality baby?
You did.
We also saw the Big Bird there.
Well, the woman with the
internet sensation.
Well, it's the guy who's
that Elise interviewed.
Yeah,
yes.
There he is.
Yeah.
But what's she wearing?
I know.
Well, we got one on the left and right with the furry coats. Fashion day at the ballpark.
Is that like a full-length coat? I still don't think it's
I don't know,
as good
but I
as
want one.
The bear shawl.
Boog, I could see you walking down Michigan Avenue with that on.
How much material would it take to cover me in that? It's got sort of a little bit of a Chewbacca flavor to it.
Star Wars nights at a ballpark used to really freak me out.
Really?
Oh my goodness! I was scared to death. I don't know.
Have you seen Star Wars?
No, I won't go watch it.
Joe. Wisdom has gone on strikes, and Ferguson has gotten the first 2.
No. Come on. No.
It's Chewbacca. Everybody's
No,
fine.
man. No. What's the quality baby?
Quality baby.
I haven't heard. I mean, who came up with that term?
Jim DeShays.
Yeah. We need a quality at bat here.
Yeah, we do.
Up the middle. And there's one. Nick Madrigal. Quality contact.
I've been really impressed with what Nick has done because there was some, there were thoughts. I didn't know how he was going to necessarily fit in this team, when they signed Swanson. And he's taken advantage of the situations. He's hitting over 300. He's done a good job at third base. And
Jason Heyward with the hand warmers. He throws them out of his bare hand and then goes and gathers them back up. And Heyward makes the catch. Mancini retired. Yeah, that's how you do it on a cold day. You keep them in your bare hand and then you go gather them up. Next play. Tennessee Smokies host the Chattanooga Lookouts. First pitch tonight at 6 p.m. And speaking of Tennessee, loaded with talent. Owen Casey, of course, off to a good start. The Tennessee right fielder, Pete Crow Armstrong, at a 343. Miguel Amaya, so you drink into quality babies. Oh, that's happy times.
Yeah, good place to be right there. Just settle in. Wait for a Cub rally to wake me up.
As Wisdom was able to haul it in. Our Bounty Quick Stats focus on tomorrow's probables and a good matchup. Clayton Kershaw sees it off to a good start. 25 innings of work. Meanwhile, for Stroman, 0.75 ERA. He's been, wow, has he been good.
Clayton Kershaw got his 200th win his last start. You think about how good and dominant he's been. Will we ever see a starter even get close to 300?
I don't think so.
No.
No, they don't make as many starts as they used to. They don't get as many decisions because the bullpen has become so important in the modern game, and pitch counts and things of that nature.
Drilled in the air, right field. I think Muncy's gone deep again. He has. Max Muncy on a home run tear. He's got 10 of them. Second of the day, and it's now 7-4.
Coverage Cam is brought to you by T-Mobile. Mad Max launches with that uppercut swing, and ain't no doubter. Home runs number 9 and 10. I'll tie him for the league lead. With Pete Alonso, depending on what the polar bear does today. I was just going to say, there's always this question of, will anybody ever hit 400 again? And one of the challenges for the modern hitters, you just don't get that many at-bats off the same pitcher every day.
Swanson gobbles it up.
Think about the middle of the Dodger batting order here today. They got 2 at-bats off Wisniewski, but their last 3 plate appearances have come against 3 different pitchers.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get locked in.
It's like what, I'm going to Google it right now, but how many pitchers did Joe DiMaggio face during his 56-game hitting streak? It's some absurdly low number. And today it's just pitcher after pitcher after pitcher. Last year, big league average was 243. It was the lowest it had been since 1968. It's harder to hit right now.
How many pitchers they saw in a season?
Yeah, it's like
243 different pitchers the average player saw.
It's crazy.
And not to take away from anything Ted Williams did, but yeah, that's a significant difference when you're seeing the same guys over and over and over again.
And what was the average career, or the average for the major league hitters last year?
243.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the average number of pitchers that a guy.
No. Your batting average was 243 last year. That's what the big league average was. So they hit 243. It was lowest since 1968.
Yeah, it would be curious to see like how many different pitchers an everyday player saw. a guy like Mookie Betts or, a guy like Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, I don't remember that number, Boog, but you're right. That was something that was out there. The number of pitchers that DiMaggio saw during his hitting streak versus what a modern, and it was a huge disparity.
He faced 54 pitchers during his streak, during a 56-game hitting streak.
Wow. So you think about, okay, in a 3-game series, you're going to see 3 starters, right? Probably average seeing 2+ other pitchers in the game. So maybe 5,
I think
3. Think so. So 4 different. Do you see 4 different pitchers a game? I would say you probably see on average about 3.5. You see the starter for a couple, and then depending on how many bats. So you think about that in 56 games, how many pitchers they would see. You're near 200. But I guess you could see the same guy twice if you're playing back-to-back series like the Cubs did here. And you think about the other thing is they didn't play as many teams back then.
Right.
Right now you're playing every team in baseball. You're playing 29 other teams. That makes a lot more work for broadcasters too.
Drilled to right. I think Outman has just gone deep again. He has. What a series for this kid. 4th hit of the day, 2nd homer, and his 4th home run in this series. He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was talking about him off this great start for a Rookie of the Year. How about MVP? The way he's going, good grief. The guy that they weren't sure was going to be on their ball club back in spring training.
See how tight that elbow stays to his body, opposed to what we saw from Jason Hayward. I mean, both of them are pitchers down the middle of the plate. See, Rossi's probably going to make a change here.
Julian Merryweather will come into the game. Dodgers have broken it open. Come calling Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, night, day, and then it's on the road for the Marlins and the Nationals. So that is our upcoming schedule, brought to you by Hyundai. Merryweather out for the 9th time. The ERA is a little ugly. It's been better of late. Delivers inside to Vargas.
And Merryweather, guy, certainly worth taking a look at with that arm he's got. Really light up the radar gun. Just needs to be more consistent.
mean, you think about that combination, that fastball at the top of the zone, the curveball down at the bottom of the zone. I mean, that has a chance to be really effective, especially if you're not seeing hitters 2 and 3 times during the course of a game. And there's more velocity in there.
Just to follow up on our conversation about the modern game and the different number of pitchers that guys see. Coop did a little digging. Patrick Wisdom saw 164 different pitchers last year.
And he wasn't even an everyday player. Played a lot.
Foul tipped into the mitt of Torrens, and Merryweather finishes the inning. Last chance for the Cubs. Dodgers lead 9-4.
And he hit it 404 feet, 3 feet longer than the average major league home run. had a red trail behind it, which is kind of cool. And it pulled the Cubs within 2, and we were thinking, okay, here we go. We're going to have some late game drama, but it's going to take a heck of a rally now for that to happen. Shelby Miller enters the fray, the veteran right-hander working for the 9th time in 9 innings, an ERA of 2. Been able to pitch around some walks, as you see. Been kind of a long and winding road for Shelby Miller.
Former Cub.
He did spend a little time here.
I feel like it was 2 appearances that year. Here's Luis Torrens. Shelby Miller made 3 appearances in 2021.
He's originally a Brave?
He was originally Cardinal.
Cardinal, that's right.
Debuted back in 2012. He was just 21. Finished 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting in 13. Was an All-Star in 15. That was with the Braves. Then he got traded to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he was in the Swanson trade.
That's right. And things did not go well for him in Arizona.
1-2 on Torrens, who came into the game after David Ross pinch hit for Tucker Barnhart.
He did not play in 2020. Shelby Miller opted out during the COVID pandemic. Since then, he's been a Cub, a Pirate, a Giant, and a Dodger. So this is his 8th team altogether.
It's really amazing to me how a lot of times starters can resurrect their career in the bullpen, right? You take a guy that all of a sudden just doesn't have the stuff that he had. It's a pretty good split there. He's thrown a number of them to Torrens, but all of a sudden they get a little uptick in their velocity. Their breaking balls get a little bit better because they're not logging all those innings.
The light rain falling here at the ballpark. That one is through there. Torrens takes, and that's strike 3. One more 50-50 update. Ready? 85-740.
Good work, people.
One more day tomorrow. Pony up that jingle.
It's really important for Nico to be able to turn on that occasional inside fastball like he did last time, right? Because it's so good, pitches out away from him, spraying the ball the other way. So teams will start to pitch him hard in. But if he shows that he can turn on that pitch and do some damage, it's going to create some real problems.
A rare strikeout, and Horner caught looking. Toast of the Game is brought to you by Benny's Beverage Depot. If you can't find it at Benny's, it's probably not worth drinking.
Yeah, well, James Outman has certainly been a pain in the side for the Cub pitchers here in this series, including 2 more home runs here today. If you can't find that Benny's, it's probably not worth drinking.
You know, I looked at the way he finished his swing. You know, he kind of stops it. Chase Utley.
Yeah. Yep.
Short, compact to the ball, and a lot of damage so far for this young kid.
I feel like it is a way that you're seeing more and more guys hit, where they stop, they don't roll the wrist over.
I think they're trying to get extension through the ball is what they're trying to do.
Dansby asks for time.
So here they are, the two guys that were traded for each other. That's kind of fun.
On the ground, Taylor throws him out, and that's the ball game.
Wasn't that much fun after all. That was a good ball game for most of the day, and then the Dodgers opened it up late. That was an opportunity to split the series if they get the win tomorrow. Good pitching matchup. Stroman v. Kershaw.
Indeed. For Jim DeShays, Joe Girardi, Elise Menaker, and our entire crew, I'm John Sciambi. Thanks for watching Chicago Cubs baseball right here on Marquee Sports Network. Again, your final: Dodgers 9, Cubs 4. Tomorrow we wrap up this 4-game series. Coverage starts at noon. Stroman and Kershaw up next. Cole Wright, Carlos Pena. It's Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cole, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Boog. 5-run defeat courtesy of the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's going to set up the rubber match tomorrow where they try to pull even in the series. We'll see how it all goes down. But first things first, Los and I, we're going to get you up to speed on everything that went down. Cubs Post Game Live. We're bouncing back right after this. Keep it locked.